Well, good Wednesday evening in Northern Michigan. Thanks for joining us on Unscripted today. And today we took a little bit of a look around the region earlier, and sometimes we have times where it's like, oh, it's sunny here, it's cloudy here. When we looked earlier, it was cloudy everywhere. So we're going to bring in our meteorologist, Chief Meteorologist Joe Charlevoix. Joe, those clouds, are they going to be sticking around for a while?
Yeah, a little bit. Although I do think later tonight we'll see a few breaks in the clouds, and tomorrow some peaks of sun. So I think tomorrow we'll have a little better chance actually for a little sunshine. But all this rain and the cloud cover, Cody, is being driven by a cold front that's passing through. And you know what that means when you get a cold front. I mean, it's going to be cooler behind that. So we're looking at a little bit of fall-like weather coming up here the next few days. I don't mind though, you know. It's a little cooler day here and there. It's not too bad.
Yeah, no, I don't mind it either. I actually kind of like it.
Yeah, so we'll deal with that. We'll take a look at how long that is expected to last. And eventually we do go back up into the low 70s again. We'll take a look at that in a few minutes.
Sure thing. Thank you, Joe. Now for our top story tonight, it's a $236 billion illegal global enterprise. And Michigan gets a failing grade at addressing it. But the real toll when it comes to human trafficking isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in shattered lives. Today in Lansing, new legislation introduced to try and reduce the devastating price being paid close to home. Our Mark Gillette breaks down the bills.
What kind of a world do we live in where we even have to have a press conference like this?
It's safe to say Senator John DeMoose wishes he didn't have to talk about or introduce legislation regarding something that Michigan isn't doing very well addressing.
Michigan still receives an F rating from Shared Hope International and the Polaris Project in 2023 for our state's human trafficking statutes.
But Senator DeMoose and State Representative Breen are both hoping that changes this session with the introduction of packages of bills that aggressively attack human trafficking on all fronts.
We aren't just going after the supply side of the problem, the criminals trafficking women, children, and men. We're going after the demand side, too. If you're a person, most often a man, thinking you're just paying someone to have a good time, think again. With these bills, you're facing dramatically increased penalties.
The bills would increase penalties for traffickers and those who prey on their victims. They also would increase protections and options for those being trafficked and put in place protective measures, especially for children being exploited for commercial sex.
Our current policies and practices, however much good they do, are limited. Survivors are left without support, families are left without justice, and we have a moral responsibility to do better.
And these lawmakers say their complementary legislation does just that, better.
I wanted to see a package of bills that, if passed, 2 years from now, there will be a significant number of women who will wake up and not be trafficked that day who otherwise would have been trafficked that day. And I think that's what we have in this legislation.
Legislation aimed to address something that Michigan needs to do better on.
We can make Michigan a far more safe place for victims and a more dangerous place for traffickers to operate.
Similar legislation has stalled in recent sessions. The hope here today that something will finally be done to address what they say shouldn't remain in the shadows any longer.
I pray that the legislature takes up these bills immediately and that it helps make Michigan off limits for anyone and everyone engaged in human trafficking.
Thanks to our Mark Gillette for that report. The Senate bills were introduced today and House bills soon to follow. Funding for the Michigan Anti-Trafficking Project could be impacted by the current budget negotiations. Insiders say in the Republican proposed budget, the project sees its funding severely reduced, if not cut entirely. We'll continue to follow the bills and the budget and keep you informed. Switching gears a little bit, a Northern Michigan trail system is one step closer to getting more funding. At their meeting Tuesday night, Elk Rapids Village trustees approved a resolution to apply for a state grant. The grant would help with phase 1 of the Nequema Trailway. Our Allie Baxter spoke with neighbors who say they're skeptical about the village's decision.
That's the only way we could ever get their attention. At one council meeting, one of the new councilwomen asked, what about all those signs in the neighborhood?
These signs have stood in the yards of Elk Rapids Village neighbors for nearly 5 years, but now with one major change.
When we said yes to Tart Trail and the way we feel like we've been treated, it was felt that we didn't want to say yes to the Tart Trail anymore. It really hurts me to have to say this, that, we feel so let down.
Terry and Diane say they've been following developments of the Noquema Trail since the beginning, and they've been outspoken about the proposed route through the village, saying the route shouldn't come down South Bayshore Road.
They're intertwined. You can't separate them. So the last 4 days, Diane and I got 66 new signatures around town and on the trail. And that was in what, 4 days we
4 or
did this?
5 days, and during the Labor Day
Weekend. We that are still opposed to it. We're saying things haven't changed on our end.
Terry and Diane explained since Phase 1 ends at South Bayshore Road, you can't talk about Phase 1 without debating the proposed route.
So we've been taking it in bite sizes, and this is just another nibble, if you will, at that piece.
Tart Trail CEO Julie Clark is working with the village. Tuesday night, she presented a Michigan Department of Transportation grant. Village trustees agreed to apply for the grant that would help fund Phase 1 of the trailway.
We were shocked, especially after reading those last 2 paragraphs on that on the resolution. Yeah, commits to being responsible for engineering, permits, administration, potential cost overruns. That alone, the potential cost overruns, scares the bejeebies out of me.
We understand that there's probably a lot more discussions to come in the village, but our work is focused on making sure that we can, frankly, have something to argue about, right? We want the trail to come to Elk Rapids.
In Antrim County, Allie Baxter, UpNorthLive News.
This weekend, the International Fireworks Championship returns to Traverse City. 6 fireworks teams from around the world will be in town to compete in the 3rd annual championship. It will be at Turtle Creek Stadium. The firework displays will be this Friday and Saturday. So to talk a little bit more about this big event, we're going to bring in Trevor Tkach, the president of Traverse City Tourism. Trevor, thanks for joining us on your Wednesday and talking a little bit about this with us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, so first I want to ask you a little bit about, just how cool is it having competitors from around the world here in Traverse City to do this?
Yeah, no, this is a very special opportunity. It's our 3rd year bringing teams in from all around the world, and it's proven to be a huge success. People love it, having an opportunity to see how other countries celebrate with pyrotechnics and choreographing that to music is a very special experience.
Yeah, and these competitors, it is a competition and they are competitors. Do you often see them getting competitive with each other? Is there a lot of pride for them coming here and competing with other, competitors from around the world?
They're frenemies.
Yeah.
They really enjoy being around one another, but they all want to win this competition. So they come in, they put their best effort forward, and it's a pleasure to watch. And to watch it all culminate at the end with giving out the awards and watching each other pat each other on the back. It's a lot of fun, and it's something like you've never seen before.
Yeah, and when we really break down this competition, because you mentioned earlier music, and you just said, something you haven't seen before, and it's 15-minute shows, correct, for each competitor?
Yeah, 15 to 20 minutes. They're all given the same amount of allowance of fireworks, and they choreograph it to their own music. So they find some things maybe are unique to their market, so you might hear some sounds from Poland or Serbia or wherever, but you'll also see them incorporate, some pop music or some familiar tunes that get the crowd excited. And so you feel like you're a part of a very magical experience.
That's cool. And you mentioned that crowd. Now fans get to participate a little bit too, right? They get to vote on their Best of Show award.
Oh, 100%. What would this be if we couldn't give the audience a chance to participate? So you'll get a chance to pull out your phone and vote for your favorite show each of the 2 nights, Friday night and Saturday night. And we'll give out an award, a People's Choice Award. And then we also have judges there who are experts in the field who will also be judging. So we'll do that presentation. And then there's a finale fireworks show after the awards. So each of the nights, you've got the 3 countries that compete and then a finale show at the end.
Yeah, so can you talk a little bit about, we've seen this a couple times before, the impact this event has on Traverse City?
Oh, it's a spectacular opportunity. Of course, our job here at Traverse City Tourism is introduce Traverse City to the rest of the world. So we want to encourage people to come here and be a part of it from out of town. But I'm a local. My family enjoys this, and I know a lot of people from the area like to come and take part in this too. And it's becoming a tradition. So we're very proud of that work that we've done. And it's honestly, it's like You know, you go to a baseball game and it's just a horrible game, but you got the fireworks, you're waiting for it till the end. Well, here, we're going to cut right to the chase. You're going to get the best of it. You can come see these fireworks. You don't have to wait 9 innings for it. You don't have to fly to Disney World to see this show. It's coming to you here in Traverse City.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can say I have been to some baseball games where I would otherwise leave early, but I'm like, oh, the fireworks are tonight, though, so you have to be there. That's cool. And, of course, when you talk about fireworks, one of the coolest things, the finale. So can we talk a little bit about the finales on both nights? Let's start with Friday.
Yeah, so the cool thing is each of the shows is like a finale. So to say there's a finale, it's not like the finale is bigger than the rest of the shows. It's just one more great show to take in. So basically, each of the 4 shows you'll see Friday or Saturday. So if you've been to a 4th of July fireworks show and you see, you know, the tail end of it, it's typically the most spectacular part. Well, I'm here to tell you that all 15 to 20 minutes of each of these shows is like being at the finale. The fireworks fill the sky, so you can't even see the whole show in your peripheral vision. You have to keep turning your head to see all of the action. And then, as you pointed out, we've talked about a little bit, is it's choreographed to the music. Yeah. So these fireworks are shooting off in tempo with the music. So they speed up, they slow down, they come to climax. It's a really special thing. But on Friday night, we'll have the winning team from last year. The UK will come back and do a finale fireworks show for our pleasure. And then the judges will do a special show on Saturday night, which will incorporate some custom-made fireworks never before seen. So it should be really fun each night.
So you mentioned that, you know, the UK is coming back to have this moment, you know, after they won last year. Are they also competing as the reigning champs kind of defend that title, or are they not competing this year? They said, hey, we'll have it last year, and now we'll have this. Cool
no,
moment.
That might be a cool twist, Cody. We'll look into that in the future, but it's a way to honor that group, you know, to have them come back and be recognized, because those who came the year before, remember, maybe they voted for them, maybe they really liked that show. So to see what new ideas they're bringing to the table is a lot of fun.
Very cool. Before we let you go, is there anything else that you want people to know before this event this weekend?
Oh, yeah. Well, remember, tickets are still available. You can go to travercecity.com and click on the fireworks link to find out more. Doors open at 6 o'clock. We've got entertainment leading up to the shows, and then you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the best show you've ever seen.
Yeah, Trevor Tkach, the president of Traverse City Tourism, thanks so much for joining us this evening to talk about that a little bit. This Friday and Saturday at Turtle Creek Stadium here in Traverse City, that event will kick off. That brings us to our question of the day, which of course does have to do with this event coming up this weekend. It is, how many fireworks shows do you see in a year? Currently, the voting is 43% at 1 to 3, and then 56%, excuse me, at none, and then 4 to 6 has 1, and then no one's seen more than 6. So that's a lot of fireworks shows to see, but currently leading that's none, and then 1 to 3 firework shows. There is still time to vote. You can vote on our website, UpNorthLive.com, and on our UpNorthLive Facebook page. We're going to take our first break of the show. When we get back, Joe will break down that weather forecast for the rest of your week.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Welcome back to Unscripted on this Wednesday. We still have 2 days left in the work week. Joe, a lot of clouds and some cooler weather today. Should we expect the same tomorrow and Friday?
And Saturday and probably Sunday too.
Sure.
But maybe not Monday.
Okay.
Looking ahead here. By the way, Cody, I want to take a look at that picture.
Yeah.
Imagine waking up this morning and driving down the road and you see that.
Yeah, what a shot.
Out over Lake Michigan. That was off the southeast shore of Beaver Island, a very well-defined water spout. They look like tornadoes. They're not necessarily formed the same way, though. And a lot of times when we do have these, they're more common on the Great Lakes in August, September, and October when the Great Lakes are at their warmest. And then we start getting cooler air masses overhead. So you get that temperature difference from the water and the air. And then you have to also have not a lot of wind at the surface, too, for these to form. But that was a great one. Casey Buckliner took that. Casey's from Gaylord, but that was this morning around 8:30 in Beaver Island, or off Beaver Island. All right, let's go to Gaylord, where it is 56, cloudy skies. You can see that. The wind now out of the northwest. That means our cold front has passed through. We did have a cold front pass, and here's where it is right now. There's the weather map tonight. Low pressure northeast of Lake Superior. That front just crossing, but kind of bisecting the lower peninsula. Behind that, cooler weather. And it's going to get cold enough for some lake effect showers. Here's a look at the rain. Well, actually, you know what? Let's go back to the last 12 hours. Kind of show you that rain passing by right there. And now we have a few lake effect rain showers in some spots that will roll in tonight through part of tomorrow. I think the rain will be a little more sporadic. The steady rain has moved east of us now, out over Lake Huron and downstate. But our wind has shifted around now behind that front. There's a look at it, pretty much out of the northwest currently. And then look at the temperature contrast across Michigan right now. An hour ago, Detroit was sitting at 80. They're at 70 now. And then we have 40s up in the western UP. Just here in Michigan, we've got 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. We will continue to see that cooler air kind of bleeding in here through the rest of the night. As far as rain is concerned, this will kind of morph into more just showers tonight, few breaks in the clouds. If you're up in the UP and Straits, that's the more likely area for showers tomorrow. And then that'll kind of get pushed north, a few showers. Then watch Thursday night. This is tomorrow night. Watch this. That comes in. It's another area of low pressure. So late Thursday night, early Friday, it looks wet. Could get decent rain early Friday. And then showers Friday afternoon and evening. So that's kind of what we're expecting there. And I'll even take you beyond that. Here's Friday evening. We'll see scattered showers, maybe for high school football games. And then Saturday, also a chance for some showers as well. So that's kind of the gist of things. As far as tonight's temperatures are concerned, we are looking at 40s for most spots, but take a look at Cadillac. It'll get down to around 39. We're not going to get any frost or anything like that tonight, but it is going to be a bit of a chilly one. All right, the extended forecast. It stays cool through Sunday. Best chance for rain, the next potential chance for rain, we'll have showers, but that's, again, late Thursday night, early Friday. And then next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, warmer. We get back into the 60s, low 70s, and partly cloudy skies. So I would say pretty average kind of weather here for September coming up, kind of up and down a little bit.
Yeah, and you can do a movie night at home during the rain. And then we talked about it earlier. We don't mind the cooler temperatures every now and then.
Absolutely.
I'll take them. Yeah, thank you, Joe. We're going to take another quick break. When we get back, we are in the final month of the regular season in the MLB. We'll break that down with Sports Director Harrison Beebe. Stay with us. We are in the final month of MLB regular season baseball, and we're going to bring in our sports director, Harrison Beebe, to talk a little bit more about that. Down the stretch, you never want to get swept, but especially down the stretch, you really don't want it. But today, the Tigers able to avoid that fate?
They sure were. The Mets looked pretty good in the first two games of the series, beating them 10-8 on Monday on Labor Day, and then getting a 12-5 win last night. It was actually a lot uglier than 12-5. The score looked better than what the real game was going on. Thankfully, the Tigers rebounded, got that win at home this afternoon, 6-2, to avoid getting swept. And Cody, the real situation going into the final few weeks of the season here, I don't want to jinx ourselves, but it appears the AL Central is pretty much under wraps. You know, crazy things can always happen, but they are 9.5 games up on Kansas City for the division with, I believe, 21 games to go. This is the real story here that we should keep an eye on for the next few weeks because, yes, the Tigers are looking very likely for a postseason spot, but if they finish #1 on this list, they would host all the way up to the World Series, not including the World Series. That would depend on which National League team makes the list. But this is the American League standings as we know them right now. Tigers, Blue Jays just swapping that one win for that one loss, which has them at a virtual tie there at the top. The Blue Jays do still play tonight, so they have the chance to jump ahead or behind in those standings. But this would kind of be the story to follow here in the final 3 weeks. Are the Tigers going to contend with the Blue Jays? And either way, you know, it's postseason baseball. You don't need to be at home to get a win in a series. But I'm sure Comerica Park, it would help a lot. We know last year they lost in the ALDS. They won the game you and I were at, Cody. Yeah. Game 3 of the ALDS with the Guardians, but they lost that one in 5 with Game 5 being on the road in Cleveland. So we know this group would love nothing more than to have some key home games at the end of best-of-5, best-of-7 series at Comerica Park, and that is what's on the line if they can finish ahead of Toronto in those standings.
Yeah, those standings were razor thin, huh? Right at the top, which is expected, but the Yankees this season, it feels like they had that streak where they were really cold, and now they're hot right on our heels.
And there's a chance they could play the Yankees in the ALDS. We'll have to see how the wild card shakes out. I think right now the Red Sox and Yankees are the top 2 wild card teams, which means those rivals would play each other in that best-of-3 series, and then the winner goes on to play the Tigers. So they have momentum after the Tigers have a few days off. A lot of intriguing storylines to dissect in October, but here in September, let's just worry about basic wins.
Yeah, let's finish strong, and then we'll worry about it in October. Thank you so much for joining us, Harrison. We're going to take our final break of the show. When we get back, we're going to take one final look at our question of the day. There's still time to vote on our website, UpNorthLive.com, and our Facebook page. We'll be right back.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
This weekend, the International Fireworks Championship returns to Traverse City. 6 fireworks teams from around the world will be in town to compete in the 3rd annual championship, which made us ask the question of the day today, which is how many fireworks shows do you see in a year? Currently, the voting is 44%, 1 to 3 a year, 54% none, and then 4 to 6 and more than 6 both getting 1% of the vote. So a lot of it's between that 1 to 3 a year and then none. I'd put myself in that 1 to 3 as well, that 44%. Thanks for voting if you did, and thanks for joining us for Unscripted. Take care, Northern Michigan.